Hi, today I'm talking about how to store polymer clay. Um, and just a couple of suggestions really, because I know when you work with it, you end up with little leftover balls. And quite a lot of the time when you're working with clay a lot, you just put them away for the time being, and then they really mount up, and you end up with loads of just small to medium-sized balls of clay, and they're just lying around. So one way of storing this clay and making better use of it and making sure that it doesn't dry out is to make a clay sandwich. So this is one I made earlier, and it has sort of shades of blue. What I've done is I've rolled them flat through my pasta machine on a setting of 1, or that's rolled to about 2 millimeters thick. And then I've kind of folded it over and then put it between 2 sheets of baking paper, and then I've done the rest with the same and just layered them together to make a kind of a stack. And what this does is it keeps your custom-made colours together. So you have samples of different shades of blue or different shades of violet, or whatever colours that you have available. And instead of forgetting about your scraps of clay and opening new packets, it means that you already have lots of colours available that you probably forgot about. So what you're doing, I guess, if you keep opening packets of clay, you'll end up wasting clay or letting clay dry out, or forgetting that you've got perfectly great colours just lying around. It's just that you haven't organised them or looked after them properly, and they've gone crumbly. So these are in shades of blue. What you can do is you can take a small ziplock bag or small plastic bag. They're not too expensive, and then you can just store 2 or 3 sandwiches in different shades, maybe put a label on it, say blues, violets, greens, and then you can put it in I don't know, for example, a shoebox, and store it away somewhere. So then it's sort of like a reference for all your colours and your spare clays. And since I've started doing this, when I'm making a new cane or a new project, I don't think, oh, I want that colour, I've got a spare block of that somewhere. I think maybe I should just go through my clay sandwiches or my spare clays, and then I already have a fair amount of clay that I can use for it, instead of opening another packet, which can get a bit wasteful. I put quite a lot of them together in a really big Ziploc bag, and that works. I have to say it works pretty well for me. It stops it from drying out. So as I said, all you need to do is cut a fairly wide strip of baking paper, 2 pieces to start with, and then you roll flat the scrap of clay you have, and you just, I don't know, fold it over like this really, and then you just stick it down, because it should be quite soft, and then you just stick another piece over it. And then when you get your next ball of clay and roll it out, you can put it on and do the same thing, and you can stack up a couple of clays in the same colour family together and just store them away. Another alternative I spoke about in my polymer clay haul video, and that's to take a Ziploc bag and then cut it all the way around, apart from this part here, kind of like a book. And then you roll your pieces of clay dead flat. I've done mine on a setting of 5, which is pretty thin, and then just roll them out and just stuck them in. So if I need to cut strips of clay or cut flowers out, if I'm doing sort of an applique method, then I have so many different colours already stored away. They say you shouldn't store polymer clay in plastic, you should store it in baking paper, but I have to admit this hasn't really done anything bad to my clay, so I would recommend this anyway. I find that it keeps my clay really well conditioned, and it keeps it fairly moist without being sticky. So I have tons of these, and if I need another colour, for example, and I'm a bit hard up on clay and I'm running out of something, I can just whip one out, roll it into a ball and use it. So that's another alternative. The last thing doesn't look very appealing, but that's because it's my mud clay. So sometimes you'll do a fairly big project and you'll have lots of different scraps of clay, and you'll mix it into a big ball, and it'll come out with this really horrible, muddy, sort of unattractive colour. And again, that's based on it's personal opinion of what you think of as unattractive. Some of you might look at my mud clay and think, well, you know what, I would like to use it for this, or I would like to use it for a different project. For me, these are not colours I use when I make jewellery. So what I do is, they're quite big pieces, is I roll them out, and again I fold them up, and then I stack them together. I just take some plastic, from a shopping bag or something like that, and again I secure them and keep the clay moist, and it keeps the clay conditioned. And what I use mud clay for is when let's say I'm doing a new style of necklace or a new shape or a new look, or I want to practice making a new cane, and I don't want to use my best colours and my favourite clays that I'm going to be using for the real thing. So if I'm making something, I'll do it in sort of scrap clay first, see how it comes out. If it doesn't go right, then I can just use the mud clay again without using all my favourite colours and my best clay. So that's what I do with my muds. And then finally, storing canes. When you make canes, it's really important that you look after them. So I have some tissue paper that I bought in a massive packet. It's about £5, about, I don't know, about $8, $9 for a really big pack of it. And when I pack my jewellery, I wrap it in tissue paper. So if I have any leftover pieces from a wrapping, I just take, this is one of my new canes, it's my Brighton Rock cane, by the way. And what I do is I sort of wrap it over, I kind of fold them together nicely. And then again, I put them in a ziplock bag. Oops, that one fell out. I put it in the ziplock bag, and then I keep them in the refrigerator, because the refrigerator keeps the canes nice and cool and helps them keep them nice and in shape. If you want to use a cane for cutting, I would recommend keeping it in the ziplock bag and then putting it in the freezer for 3-4 minutes, so then it sort of hardens up a bit more for cutting. The same with these. If you're in a hot climate, and it's that time of year again and things are getting a bit sticky or hard to work with, just get your sandwiches together, pop them in the Ziploc bag, and then keep them in the fridge, store them in the fridge, and it should stop your clay from getting really sticky and nasty. If you are having problems with your clay being sticky and nasty and it's sort of a bit too gooey, then you may have, it may be the climate, maybe the weather, or it could be that you have too much plasticizer in the clay. And what you'll need to do in this case is you'll have to leach it if it really is mushy. And what I'm going to do is put a link in the description box below. I wrote a very short article and it has a video attached to it on how to leach clay. I might even make my own video yet for YouTube, but it's a short article I wrote for Squidoo, and so if you're having problems with keeping your clay in the summer weather, please read it, because it's I've collected quite a lot of useful tips and bits and pieces. So I think I'm finished for today. I just want to quickly mention before I finish that I'm having a competition at the end of June, and if you go onto my Facebook fan page, I have a pair of Tiffany box, you know, the really cute turquoise box with the white bows. I have made those little boxes into earrings, so they're going to be part of a big, well, not big competition, but they're going to be part of the competition that I'm going to be doing through my channel and through my Facebook page. So if you have any time, have a look. Next week it will probably be applying resin if the weather doesn't get too humid, and or maybe a cane video. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope this was useful to you. So take care. Thank you. Goodbye.